I are sharing this lesson, and she will read the story to you, and I will do the story questions with you. So you will need a notebook, homework sheets, and a pen. Now we're going to check the homework from our first lesson first, and then we move on to the story questions. So please prepare for the lesson very quickly. You can pause this and we'll move forward with our story questions. Now, you will need to prepare the sheet for the story questions after the lesson, so think and respond. So please, if you haven't printed this out, you can use the notebook to copy these questions. Pause this video and write these questions, and you can do them later. I will talk more about these questions after we look at the story questions. Okay, now if you remember, for our first lesson we did introduction and spelling. So we will look at the answers. If you can please get this sheet of homework ready, and we will check the answers. So for the first question, you need to write down 2 facts about Olympic Games. So the possible things you could have written are when it started, for example, what sports are played, where the next Olympics will be held, for example, or where it started, what does the Olympic flag mean. Okay, so these are the things you could have written. Now, I didn't write any answers. I want you to still think about it. If you haven't written this down, you can write now. Now, the other questions were from the slides in the PowerPoint. So when and where were the first modern Olympics Games held? So 1896, Athens, Greece. How many countries participated in the first Olympic Games? 14 countries. List 5 sports that have been part of every summer Olympic Games. So track and field, gymnastics, fencing, cycling, and swimming. What colors are the Olympic flag, and what does it show? Blue, black, red, yellow, and green. So they show at least one color of every country's flag. Okay. So every continent, every country. Okay, their Olympic Games are played every 4 years, and all the countries participate. Okay. Who won the most medals in the Olympics in Beijing? So it's Michael Phelps. What are Olympic mascots? So they're fictional characters that greet people at the Olympic Games. Okay, and we looked at the video, and we looked at the way they look as well, so we've learned a little bit about them. List what new sports have been added to the 2020 Olympic Games. So baseball, softball, karate, skateboarding, sport climbing, and surfing. Now, I'm very excited about the karate one because I have done karate for a while, so I'm looking forward to see this event. And the last question, where will the 2020 Olympic Games be held? So Japan, Tokyo. Please correct these answers. Pause this if you haven't got them right. Check. Okay, these are the answers. Now, our spelling answers. So you should have done this. Let's check the answers. So first sentence, who has the most coins? So this is the first answer. Number 2, this street is very empty. All the people are at home. Next one, a student will do the work at home because the school is closed. Number 4, I needed a straw to drink my juice. Number 5, we need to start our exam at 9 a.m. Number 6, an artist draws and paints. Number 7, we need a hockey stick to play the game. 8, I almost got 100% in my final exam. 9, I can write something on this strip of paper. 10, I blew up the balloons, but one just had to burst. 11, if you want to win a football game, you need to strike a ball or hit. 12, this cheetah runs very fast. You are very strong and can lift many books. 14, there was a fire and a big blast in the distance. And the last one, this chocolate is just what I needed. I was hungry. Now, you needed to write 5 sentences with 5 different spelling words. So I will look at your homework again. If you're not finished, please do this and take a picture of your homework. Now, let's move on to the questions. So you need to copy the question and write the answer. Now I will read some of the part of this story, and I will see if you can hear the answer already. So first question, where and when did the first modern Olympic Games take place? So the first Olympic Games took place in ancient Greece. Okay. Now there are some dates mentioned here. So 776 BC, and then 393 and 1896. So one of these dates is probably the answer for when did the key modern Olympic Games take place. So you should know this. Now you can pause this video and copy this question and the answer in your notebook. Now let's look at the next question. When did the Olympic Committee start the Winter Games? Now the answer is somewhere on the left on this page. So at the start we only had Summer Olympics. So when did the Olympic Committee start the Winter Games? You need to look at some dates. So in 1924, the Olympic Committee started the Olympic Winter Games, which include skiing, bobsledding, ice skating, ice hockey, and other winter sports. So perhaps the answer could be there. Now question 3. List some cities of where Olympic Games were held in the past. Now paragraph 3 has that answer, okay? So just as in ancient times, the games are held every 4 years. Now the games are held in a different city each time. Over the years, the cities of Helsinki, Rome, Mexico City, Montreal, Los Angeles, Seoul, Barcelona, Sydney, and many others have played host to the games. So perhaps you can hear or see the answer there. Next one. What happens during the Parade of Nations? You need to write 2 sentences. So you can read the beginning of this, and you will find your answer here at the beginning of this paragraph. That's the clue I can give you. So you can pause this and write 2 sentences. So what happens during the parade? You can focus on the pictures. What do you think people are doing? What is happening? So what happens? Next question. Write 2 facts about Olympic torch. So you can have a look at the picture here. This is Olympic torch. Also think back to the sports games at our school. So write down 2 facts. What is Olympic torch? Anything that you think in your notebook. Please write this down. Now next one. What are track and field events? So if you look at the title here, track and field, you can see what do you think people are doing here in this picture. In ancient times, track and field events made up most of Olympic Games. In fact, the first time games were held in Olympia, the only events were sprints or short, fast races. Track events are races between runners. The first 3 runners to cross the finish line win the gold. Now, I might have read the answer there, so you need to answer what are track and field events. So what type of sport is it? And you need to answer that. Is it swimming? Is it running? So from what you can read this again. So what is track and field? All right, next one. Write 2 sentences about Evelyn Ashford. So this is Evelyn Ashford. I would like you to write something about her. Now, I don't want you to write about perhaps her appearance. Mainly we are focusing on the sport. So have a look at the title. What did she do? What did she win? Evelyn Ashford had a long, successful career in track events. Her success began in high school when she was invited to join the all-boys track team. In the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics, Ashford won her first gold medal in the 100-meter race. So maybe this is a clue. What did she do? What sport? And also sprinting for gold. What does this mean? So I want you to write 2 sentences about this athlete. And you can pause this and write it in your notebook. Now next one. Write 2 sentences about Michael Johnson. Again, I want you to look at the picture and see what possibly he could have been doing in Olympics. And also look at the title here, the best 400-meter runner ever. And then you can also read this and write down 2 sentences. So Michael Johnson has made running history twice. In the 1996 Atlanta Games, he became the first man to win gold medals in both the 200-meter and 400-meter races. At the 2000 Sydney Olympics, Johnson again made history with his gold medal victory. He became the first person to win the 400-meter race in 2 Olympics in a row. So write down 2 sentences. And you can pause this and write this down. Alright, question 9. Now, how many types of swimming events are there? Okay, so again, let's have a look here. Swimming. In the first modern games, the swimmer could use any stroke in the race. Today, there are 4 types of Olympic swimming events. In the breaststroke, backstroke, and butterfly events, swimmers must use only that one type of stroke. In the freestyle event, swimmers can use any stroke they like. Now, the question is, how many types of swimming events are there? Question 10. What are the 4 types of swimming events? Now, I might have already answered that question. If you listen carefully, you should be able to answer these easily in your notebook. So please open your notebook, keep it open, and you need to be answering these questions as we are going along. Now, I am not going to wait. You can pause this video and write if you need more time, okay? I will just keep going through the questions. Now, next question. Write 2 sentences about Mark Spitz. So this is Mark Spitz. Again, look at the title and you can we'll read a little bit here about him. Swimming toward history. Mark Spitz began swimming on the team at a very early age, by the time he was 10. So perhaps you can write something about how old was he when he started swimming. Later, Mark began to train at California's Santa Clara Swim Club, which is known for its outstanding swim program. As a teenager, he set world records in the freestyle and the butterfly. Perhaps you can write what type of swimming he did. Okay, and then you can look here at the Munich Games. Mark Spitz made Olympic history. He won 7 gold medals, the most ever won in any sport in one Olympic Games. His first 2 gold medals were in the 100-meter and 200-meter freestyle. So please write 2 sentences about him. Now, I have read some things about him already. You can read it again and write 2 full sentences. Now, I hope you remember what a sentence is. So, for example, Mark Spitz began swimming when he was very young. So, or at the Munich Games, Mark Spitz won 7 gold medals. So these would be examples of full sentences. Let's look at the next one. What type of swimming event did Lenny participate in? So this is Lenny in the picture here. So we need to find the answer for what type of swimming event. So at the 2000 Olympics, Lenny Kreiselberg took the lead on the first length of the 100-meter backstroke race. He never gave it up. In 52.73 seconds, he set a new Olympic record. So I have read some part of this. So question 12, what type of swimming event did Lenny participate in? Next one. How many gold medals did he win at Sydney 2000 Olympics? At the 2000 Sydney Games, he won all of his backstroke events, the 100-meter, the 200-meter, and the backstroke part of a relay race. The United States swim team won 33 medals in Sydney. Lenny Kreiselberg had earned 3 of the gold. So how many gold medals did he win at Sydney 2000 Olympics? Again, pause and read this again. I have actually read the answer for you, so if you have been listening, you should know. Now, question 14. What sports got added to Olympic Games? Just as in the ancient Olympics, new sports are always being added to the list of events. Unlike the early events, many of the new ones are team sports. Over the years, water polo, soccer, volleyball, basketball, field hockey, baseball, and softball have all joined the contest. So what sports got added to Olympic Games? Also, if you can remember from our first lesson, what sports will be played in 2020 Olympics? Maybe you can list some of those too. Now, question 15. Who is Lisa Fernandez? What sport did she participate in? So many people think Lisa Fernandez is the best softball pitcher in the world. Her windmill fastball travels at about 60 miles per hour. She's the pitcher no one wants to face. When Fernandez pitches, batters get very few hits. In the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta, one hit spoiled her team's perfect record, and she has never forgotten it. She didn't want that to happen in Sydney. Now you can read a little bit more about her, and I want you to tell me who is Lisa Fernandez and what sport did she participate in. You can pause this and answer this in your notebook. Now, how do the Olympic Games end? So this is one of the last pages. The Olympic Games end with special closing ceremonies. Again, the athletes gather on the field of Olympic Stadium. The Olympic flag is handed from the mayor of the host city to the mayor of the next host city. It will be kept in the new city's town hall until the next games. So you can read the rest of it here and also write down 1 to 2 sentences. How do the Olympic Games end? Now, this is the last part. Think and respond. Let's look at these questions. So I have rewritten these so you don't have to answer this one. So this is your homework sheet. Now, we have 5 questions you need to answer for homework. So how often do Olympic Games take place? So you need to go back to the story and have a look. I will also send the PPT, okay, so you'll be able to check it. Who are some of the athletes who got included in this story? Write their name and what sport they participated in. How might the Olympic Games change in the future? Perhaps they have changed already. How? If you could meet one of the Olympic Games athletes, who would you choose and why? You can mention someone from the article here or another athlete that you know. And the last question, you need to talk, see if you can ask your parents about this. In 2008 Olympics in Beijing. So find out something about these Olympics and write down some facts. Ask your parents about what they can remember about the Beijing 2008 Olympic Games. So this is our lesson. So please do this homework. Take a picture and send it to me. Now don't forget to also do the questions for this lesson in your notebook, guys. If you haven't done it, please go back and answer these questions. Okay. These questions are from the story. When I come back, hopefully we will do a test, so you do need to pay attention to this. Okay? Alright, so this is it for today. Take care, and I will see you next time.